Welcome back to Ace Academy. It's your boy, J Red, going to an interview with Warp Tech Corp. I wake up after the first sound of my alarm and hop out of bed. Today is the interview. As I get dressed, I practice my speech in my head. Breakfast goes by in a blur, and I try to anticipate what questions they will ask me. Before long, I reach the campus. As if in a daze, I go to class and take a seat by the window.
Good morning, class. I hope you are all prepared for the pop quiz.
Pop quiz? I didn't hear about a pop quiz.
You are absolutely right. That is why, young man, it is called a pop quiz.
The only person who is amused by that is the professor. He hands one page out to each student, and soon I am staring at a sheet of questions. What is the difference between overheating a core and draining a core? Overheating occurs when a core is utilized too much in a short span of time, while draining a core is when the total energy available is depleted. I'm pretty sure it's this. Yeah, that makes logical sense. That sounds about right. I spent some time completing the rest of the questions. With my quiz complete, I hand it in at the front of the class. I've never picked the smarts one before, so I nod and return to my seat. The professor waits for the rest of the class to finish before beginning the lesson.
That is all for today. Have a good afternoon.
As soon as class is dismissed, I rush out of the building. I'm not sure why I'm in such a hurry. I still have a few hours before I even need to meet Yuna. I wonder what I should do to pass the time. Kaori. I should check up on Eagle and see how bad the damage really is. Hopefully it'll still be in fighting form, even without the repairs from a sponsor. When I arrive in the hangar, I see a familiar face. Kaori is circling her gear with a critical eye. I guess we had the same idea. Hey, Kaori. She nods at me. How does it look? Kaori looks solemn.
It could be better. The damage is mostly cosmetic, but there is some damage here and here, which could impact performance.
She points to the areas on her gear.
This will reduce overall acceleration and top speed. It hurts the aerodynamic nature of Aura.
Aura?
Yeah, Aura. The name of my gear.
I suddenly remember a conversation I had with Shou regarding gears and their genders. Oh, is it a she? Is Aura a themae? Oh.
Well, the gear is an embodiment of a pilot, so yes.
I mean, that's the logic behind it in that one anime I've never seen. I'm a little surprised that Aura has a gender. I didn't take you as a sentimental person. She looks calm, but her voice gets a little defensive.
What's that supposed to mean?
I mean, I get that the gear is shaped like a female for the purpose of sponsorship and to appeal to spectators, but I trail off, unsure how to verbalize my question without offending. How do you ask someone about the boobs on their gear? Luckily, Kaori seems to understand.
This frame is smaller for better agility. And the...
She looks at the chest area of Aura. Her face flushes.
Extra storage space contains emergency energy packs for the thrusters, in case the core temporarily overheats. Their... location just happened to be there for the best weight distribution of the gear.
Aura sounds no-nonsense and efficient. They really do embody their pilots. I suppose that makes sense. She nods. We both continue reviewing her gear. The silence only grows more and more awkward. So, how'd you come up with the name? If I didn't know any better, I would think you would have named it was named after the anime Ninja Ranger. The one in pink was also called Aura. Kaori glares at me.
Yeah, so? It is named after her.
Haha, good one. Kaori scowls.
What's so funny?
You watching anime. I visualized that for a second before bursting out laughing again. I've never picked this option before. Also, look at her face. She's gonna deck you. She decked you. Kaori slugs me on the shoulder, bringing me back to reality.
What's so hard to believe about me liking anime?
Now that I think about it, I didn't really consider what sort of hobbies Kaori has, although anime would have been on my list of probably not or impossible for her. Actually, isn't Ara the Ranger of Honor? She blinks in surprise.
How did you know that?
What? I might be into anime as well.
Really? That's a surprise.
What's so hard to believe about me liking anime? Kaori blushes in embarrassment.
I guess we were both making unfair assumptions.
She looks at her gear before facing me again.
So, which is your favorite ranger?
Her speech is halted, as if she's too embarrassed to even ask the question. So, I do believe if you picked sporty, athletic, power would show up. And I do think knowledge shows up if you pick blue, or if you pick intelligent. I've never clicked on justice. And I'm really curious. Balance, the Ranger of Justice.
Balance! He was so cool! Always leading the way for the other rangers.
I stare at Kaori in surprise. I don't think I've ever seen her so animated. She blinks at my astonishment before her face reddens.
Well, I mean, if you're into that.
You don't always have to be so tsundere. I let out a chuckle. Kaori smiles. I'm glad I was able to learn something new about you. Her cheeks redden even further.
Don't make it sound like that.
She shuffles her feet and avoids my gaze.
But it is a little nice knowing you like anime, too.
We spend some more time together at the hangar before she has to head out for her class. Yuna is already waiting for me at the library. A tablet with the SBA logo is clutched in her hand. She smiles and breathes a sigh of relief when she sees me.
Oh, good. You're still wearing your uniform. I forgot to tell you yesterday to wear it, and remembered too late to text you.
Oh, I was so preoccupied on what I would say today that I forgot to think about what I'd wear. No worries. I hope my voice sounds more confident than I feel. Yuna notices the waver in my voice. She places a hand on my shoulder. The heat of her hand soothes my nerves and I relax a bit.
Okay, well, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I think I am. She starts towards the bus stop when I stop her. I can drive us if you want.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's go. She follows me into the parking lot and to my bike. Without a second thought, I hop on, but Yuna hesitates. What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. I just didn't know you had a motorcycle and not a car.
If it makes you uncomfortable, we can take the bus. She gingerly slides onto the bike. Once she's settled, we speed off. Yuna directs me where to go, and eventually she tells me to park in front of an impressive building. It's narrow, but shoots straight into the sky, cutting through the clouds. As we walk in, a perky receptionist greets us from behind her desk.
Welcome to WorkTap Corporation. How may I help you?
Yuna steps forward.
I'm Yuna Misaki from Ace Academy's SBA. We have an appointment with Mr. Takeda.
The receptionist smiles and gestures to the empty chairs.
Of course. If you'll please take a seat, he'll be with you shortly.
As soon as we take our seats, the receptionist types a rapid sequence into her computer, then drags the document from the monitor onto her tablet, and disappears into a hall in the back. I glance at Yuna. She's meticulously going over her notes. Are you nervous? She thinks for a minute.
Not as much as I thought I'd be. Are you?
I'm either really nervous or really hungry. My stomach is in knots. Yuna smiles encouragingly.
Don't worry, you'll do great.
Her confidence helps ease my nerves, and I smile back. I'm glad I have you here with me. A blush creeps into her cheeks as she seems pleased. The receptionist comes back and gestures for us to follow her. Her ponytail bounces behind her as she walks briskly down the hall and directs us into a spacious office. A portly, older man sits behind an old-fashioned mahogany desk. That is mahogany? Doesn't look like mahogany. His jowls wiggle as he offers a seat, which we both take. The walls are painted white, but one wall has a translucent sheen with Yuna's SBA submission packet projected on it. His chair squeaks in protest as he leans forward to greet us.
Miss Misaki, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, Mr. Takeda. I'd like to introduce my associate.
And J. Red, it's a pleasure. He nods in acknowledgement while Yuna continues.
He is here to represent his team at Ace Academy.
And you are in need of a sponsor.
I most certainly am. Yes, sir. He waves a hand towards the wall and shuffles the data there.
As you can see, Miss Misaki did a detailed job of describing you and your team in your application. But I'd like to hear from you. Tell me about yourself.
I've always had an interest in gear. I wonder why these two ever show up. Maybe they're funny, but like, my own anxiety is screaming at me. Pick, I've always had an interest in gear, which will happen in a future Kaori event as well. And they bold it too. I grew up in the world of gears and knew from an early age that I wanted to be a pilot. While a student at CINY, I began my program in piloting and earned top marks in all of my classes. I recently transferred and tested in the pilot program at ACE, where I'm pursuing my degree in piloting.
As a transfer student, that's not an easy program to test into.
He sounds impressed.
Tell me, out of all your other options, why did you choose Warp Tech Corporation?
It was an easy decision. Warp Tech Corporation sets the standard for gear weaponry. I read about your latest announcement of the advancement in particle technology. Same output on beam weaponry, while reducing core usage by 15%. None of your competitors have made a breakthrough like that yet.
There has also been some controversy over that release.
Some are saying that the new technology will affect the longevity of a weapon. There's no proof of that yet. I prefer to see evidence than believe rumors. He nods.
It's refreshing to see a young person keeping up to date with the latest releases.
I think I detect a hint of approval in his voice.
Okay, and why should Warp Tech Corporation choose you? In other words, what sets you apart from the competition?
We're a breath of fresh air. As a new team, we aren't so set in our ways that we stifle creativity. We're not afraid to try new strategies we think will benefit the team, and we're receptive to feedback. That said, we're also acutely aware of our abilities. We work well together because we are upfront with each other not only about our strengths, but also about our weaknesses, and we use that knowledge to our advantage. I sneak a peek at Yuna, who looks pleased. Mr. Takeda seems to appreciate my answer as well. I gotta sneeze. No, don't do this to me. Oh, my nose is doing that thing where I need to sneeze, but it just won't.
Well, I think I've heard enough for now. Miss Misaki, do you have a copy of your team's qualifier transcripts?
Yes, of course.
She flips on her tablet and flicks a document onto the projected wall. The interview seems to be going well. I glance at Yuna, who smiles encouragingly at me. Mr. Takeda takes a quick glance at the file and frowns.
Your team is only ranked 21?
Yes, sir. He sighs and turns off the projection.
You seem generally passionate about your team and your studies, and perhaps if the circumstances were different we would consider your candidacy. Unfortunately, Warp Tech only accepts teams who are ranked within the top 10 from Ace Academy.
As I'm still processing the rejection, Yuna protests on my behalf.
Mr. Takeda, couldn't you make an exception? You said yourself that if rank weren't a factor, his team would be a strong candidate. A representation by you would make a significant difference in their growth and development, and their success reflects positively on you and your company.
I'm sorry, Miss Misaki. I do believe with skills like his, he will find a sponsor. Just not with us.
Won't you even give him a chance?
Miss Misaki, I'm sure you understand the image that we have built and what would happen to that image if we stop recruiting from the top 10. I thank you very much for your interest in us and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
His voice has a hard edge of finality. He gestures towards the door, then returns his attention to his desk. All pretense is dropped, Yuna storms out the office, while I follow calmly behind. Disappointment makes my feet feel heavy. After we leave the building, Yuna whirls to face me.
What? A hypocrite! How can his company promote taking risks when he won't take any himself? I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It's okay. It was a long shot anyway. Even though we didn't get the sponsorship, I still appreciate you helping me out.
Don't give up just yet. I will get you a sponsor.
The teams we'll need to beat are all in the top 20. What are the chances of finding a good sponsor who hasn't already been scooped up by competing teams?
It's fine. I'll take care of it.
How?
It's my job. Let's just go back to campus. There's work to do.
Without waiting for me to answer, she hops on the back of my bike. I get on after her and start the engine. Yuna is quiet the entire ride back to campus. When we arrive, she gives me a hurried goodbye and rushes off, leaving me wondering just what she has planned. Well, sitting here and stewing in my thoughts isn't productive. I have some time before I need to go home. Maybe someone will be free. Shou. No options. Go Shou or go home. Maybe I'll see what Shou's up to right now. I imagine there'll be more options if you were further along on someone else's route. I dial his number, but he doesn't pick up. He must be busy. The phone rings as Shou calls me back.
Hey! Sorry about that, Brosif.
Don't sweat it. There are loud whirrings and bangings on Shou's end of the line. You busy right now or something?
Kind of. I'm at the shop.
Like a grocery store? Shou laughs.
No, the auto shop. I work here.
Respect. I didn't know Shou had a job. Oh, I can call you later.
Wait, I've got big news.
Hmm?
So, this Prince of Arabia guy just pulled into the shop in a car so expensive, you could probably trade it for an island.
Seriously?
You won't believe how amazing this car is. You should come check it out.
I'm coming right now.
Sweet. Just be careful around it, okay?
Relax, I'll be as careful around it as I am around Eagle. Shou laughs.
I've seen what Eagle looks like after a match.
Okay, bad example. As soon as we hang up, Shou texts me the address to his workplace. I program it into the GPS in my helmet and head out. I step into the shop and am greeted by Shou's smiling face. He points to the side and I see the car. In the middle of the room is the most expensive Bugatti I have ever laid eyes on. I've only ever seen the car in video games and pictures. Seeing it in person nearly takes my breath away.
Can you find your words yet?
I almost forgot Shou was there.
What do you think?
Damn, that is one sweet ride.
Did I tell you or what?
We're taking it for a spin, let's go. Shou quickly intervenes.
Nope. You're a good brosif, but you're not worth losing my job.
Not even a little bit?
Sorry.
Aww. We continue to admire the car in silence. I'm actually not that into cars, but I didn't want to pick that option in case it didn't let me come here.
What would you do if you had this much money to spend anyway?
Upgrade Eagle, quit school, travel, feed my dark addiction, take over the world. I've never gotten this event before, so, I've done something different. I'm gonna pick feed my dark addiction. The money would go to unspeakable things.
Like what?
I said they're unspeakable.
Unspeakable? Like something from 50 Shades of Gears?
That is tame in comparison.
Yeah, I don't think I want to know.
What just happened to my mic? Okay, I fixed it. Nope. Oh, I'm stepping on the cable. Sorry. What could be so unspeakable? 50 Shades of Grey is pretty tame. I've never read the whole thing, but I've read a couple excerpts, and it's, I don't know. What's my weirdest fetish I'm willing to share with the internet? Probably hypnotism. Put the money towards weird hypnotism porn. I nod. Good choice. What would you do if you had this much money?
I don't really know.
No way, everyone has something they want. There must be something.
That's the problem, isn't it? Everyone has something they want.
Shou's cheerful demeanor changes into something serious. Is that so bad?
Only when money becomes the only thing on a person's mind. You'd be surprised how many people out there care more about what's in someone's pockets rather than their hearts.
Shou, time to get cracking. Get the toolbox, will ya?
You got it! Alright, Broseph, I'm gonna get back to work. Feel free to check the place out.
He's about to leave, then pauses.
Don't you dare touch that car on your way out.
I throw my hands up in defense. I wouldn't dare. The shop is full of cars in different states of repair. I wonder if Shou worked on any of these. Shou picks out a wrench and a spanner from the toolbox and goes straight to work. He's quick with his hands, and there are no traces of hesitation in his movements. It's obvious he's been doing this for a while, and as I continue to watch him, he seems to do good work. Still, it's getting late, and I feel a little awkward hanging around when everyone's busy. I say my goodbyes to Shou and head home. I'm in a happier mood when I arrive home. Hey guys, I'm home.
You can't just decide that without telling me.
Uncle Kaito's voice stops me. I can see him pacing back and forth in the kitchen.
So cut it short. This is the opening day of my new restaurant. They'll expect me to be there, and they'll expect you there too.
As I get close to the kitchen, I can hear a woman's voice on the other end of the line.
I really don't care. Part of our arrangement was that we'd consult each other before making a decision, and you didn't. So how you're supposed to be in two places at once really isn't my problem.
A flurry of muffled words on the line has Kaito frowning deeper and deeper.
Don't forget, we are still married. We promised to do whatever it took to make sure nothing interfered with our careers. Well, if you don't show up, then that will certainly interfere with my career.
Married? Is he talking to Aunt Yuki? There's a pause. I think I hear her say, "I'll see what I can do," and hang up. Uncle Kaito slams the phone on the table, then falls into a chair and holds his head in his hands. Hey, Uncle Kaito. He glances up and gives me a weak smile. He's good. He's quick to put on his mask.
You're back. How was school today?
Good. I sit beside him. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I heard you talking to Aunt Yuki just now. He looks a little uneasy, but waits for me to finish. What do you mean by still married? Isn't Aunt Yuki just away on business?
Sort of.
Kaito sighs wearily and rubs his temples.
I suppose you're old enough to know the truth. Your aunt and I are separated. We have been for the last 6 months.
The last 6 months? But you aren't divorced?
No.
How come we didn't know? We're family.
We had to keep it quiet. Divorce is viewed differently here in Japan. It's not as common as in the States, and Yuki and I don't want our personal issues to interfere with our careers.
I remember the stories Mom told me about how difficult it was when she and Dad first got married. She couldn't have stayed in Japan even if she wanted to. Yeah. Apparently Japan is pretty conservative about some things, which, well, seems weird. And the fact that this is in the future doesn't really make it feel right, but do remember that this is based off a game that took place in present day, but that project slowly morphed into this. If you two are just separated, does that mean Aunt Yuki is here in Izukaze?
Yes.
Does this mean I can see her? Aunt Yuki was always the fun aunt. Not to say Uncle Kaito isn't fun, but she used to help us play tricks on the grown-ups when we were little. Sometimes she'd even help us prank Uncle Kaito. He never got angry, but would laugh instead. They seemed so happy together.
Hey, you okay there?
I snapped back to reality. We can still see her, right? Even though you two are separated? He's taken aback.
Of course. She's still your family.
What did Aunt Yuki say when you told her we were living with you?
Well, about that.
She doesn't know. Kaito trails off and refuses to meet my eyes. She doesn't know we're here.
No.
Were you planning on telling her?
Of course. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I nod. Uncle Kaito doesn't share anymore. I can't stop myself from asking. Since we're talking about it now, what happened between you two? He sighs.
Yuki was ready to have kids, and I wasn't. We discussed the possibility of having children when we first got married, and I kept pushing it back. I wanted to focus on my career, and for a while, so did she. But you know how women are. At some point, their biological clock starts ticking. She didn't want to wait anymore.
But you still weren't ready.
No. After that huge argument, we started to drive each other crazy. I became acutely aware of all those small things Yuki did that I hated. We fought all the time, and at some point, we agreed that this wasn't working anymore.
Ironically enough, my parents got married super late. My mom's, she thought her biological clock had finished ticking and that she couldn't have kids anymore. And then, surprise, surprise, the doctor was like, "You're pregnant." And she was like, "How?"
And that's how it's been for the last 6 months until we can figure out a more permanent solution.
It's kind of funny that even though you weren't ready for kids, you ended up with us anyway. He grins.
You guys don't count. You practically take care of yourselves. I'm just here to provide the roof.
Gee, thanks. Maybe it's a good thing you don't have kids. He laughs. So, what was this phone call tonight about? Kaito turns solemn again.
Part of our agreement for our separation was that we will both do whatever it takes to keep up the pretense of marriage when it involves our careers.
Oh, why not?
She's going on some sort of retreat with her girlfriend. Normally we consult with each other before booking any trips to prevent something like this from happening. But this time she didn't. I really need her there.
Yeah, I've picked all of these options before. I've picked this one, and he says, maybe you should get a divorce. I picked this one, and he's just like, no, just girlfriend isn't friend, which I hate it when straight women do that, because at first I'm like, yes! WLW, MLM solidarity, and they're like, what? No, I'm straight as fuck. And I was like, evacuate, backpedal. She'll be there. Don't worry, Aunt Yuki won't let you down.
I'm not so sure.
It sounds like you two had an amicable separation.
Yeah, that's true.
Then you've got nothing to worry about. She'll be there.
How can you be so sure?
Because she still cares for you and wouldn't want to hurt you. Kaito grins.
Who knew you were such a romantic?
Hey, what? No, I wrestle bears and stuff. He laughs.
I'm just teasing. Seriously. Thanks.
Uncle Kaito glances at the clock and stands.
I didn't realize how late it's gotten. I have an early start tomorrow.
Don't you always have an early start? You get up before I do.
True, but I have an even earlier start than usual.
Ick. We say goodnight, and Kaito heads upstairs. I go to the living room and turn on the TV. After watching my shows and news, I turn in for the night. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Have a good day. Boop.